Okay, hey, I do believe we are live. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a mic extension in my face. It's going to be a super casual live stream today. We're just going to hang out with the Digitakt and with the Digitone, and we're going to make some beats today. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to make today. Just going to be a super fun, casual beat making session. I've got a little bit of a jam in the boxes that I started the other day that we can use to check the volumes. Can you guys hear me? And can you guys hear this? It's going to get loud in 3, 2, 1. Alright, and when I talk over the music, can you guys still hear my voice okay? Or is it getting a little bit too loud? Just let me know if we get too loud today or if things get distorted today. Just a fun little pattern that I put together. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be just creating some stuff from scratch. And we're going to start today actually by sampling a little pad sound in from YouTube on an iPad that I've got here onto the side. I'm just taking a headphone out from the jack on this iPad Mini 2. And we're going to sample a texture in from a dub techno track. I'm going to see if I can get this to show on the screen here. Probably not so much, but the artist is Marca Bagoli, Marcibagoli, Marca Bagoli, and the track is called Snowstorm. And basically, this track starts off with a really neat texture sample, just like a really basic chord sound, and we're going to sample this chord into the Digitakt and then start working with it today. I haven't sampled from YouTube live on a stream before, so I'm also a little bit curious to see how YouTube reacts with this. It's just going to be a really short and simple pad texture sound, so I don't think we're going to have any copyright issues, but we will see. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Connor. Thanks for tuning in, Wall. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. Vocal up a bit or music down. Cool deal. I can do that in just one click right here. We'll turn the vocal up one tiny bit. Hopefully that's a little bit better. And let's just verify that with the music here. Got the music playing, and I'm still talking over the music. All right. Voice could be a little bit louder. Cool deal. So we've turned that up. And now, how's that coming through? Is my vocal loud enough? Because I can also turn it up another click. Super easy if it's not coming through. But what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and start a blank session. Oops, let me change the camera here. On the Digitakt and the Digitone. And we're going to start by sampling in that texture from this YouTube video. We're going to go, let's see here, to pattern 1 on both machines. I'm using, let's explain the setup just a tiny little bit today. I'm using the Digitone on the right as the master clock. So when I press, I've got it routed. So when I press play on the Digitone, the Digitakt on the left here starts playing. And I've also got it set up that if I change a pattern on the Digitone here on the right, that the Digitakt will follow along and change patterns as well. We've got the audio from the Digitakt being routed into the audio input on the Digitone, so that we're monitoring the Digitakt's audio through the Digitone. So we only got one stereo connection going to my master mixer, and that's coming out of the Digitone. Okay. I think that's it. So we're going to go ahead and change the camera here, and we're going to go to the sampling menu on the Digitakt over here on the left. We're going to make sure that it's set to monitor the audio input, and we're going to have it set here that the audio input should be received on both the left and the right inputs of the Digitakt. We're going to go ahead and play this track here on the YouTube and make sure that we're getting a level. Can you guys hear that coming through okay? Okay, cool. That sounds like it's coming through just fine. What we're going to do is we're just going to record the very beginning texture pad sound from this track here. We're going to go ahead and arm the Digitakt for recording and press play on the iPad. And we're just going to let this texture record for a few seconds here. Hey, Jamie, thanks for tuning in. Okay, fantastic. We're going to go ahead and, yes, stop. Okay, good deal. So we're going to go ahead and remove the iPad from the equation at this time so that I've got a cleaner workspace. Let me go ahead and shut this off. That's all we're going to be using the iPad for today, is just to sample that little texture out. And let's see here. Now we've got this texture to work with. Cool deal. And we can start editing this. We're going to go ahead and zoom in on the sound, maybe quite a bit. And then we're going to zoom in all the way here so that I can kind of get the sample to start at a zero crossing if possible. I'm going to pick a different start point, I think. Maybe a little bit further into the sample. Bear with me while we scroll into the sample a bit further. Maybe more like here. And again, I'm going to scroll for kind of a zoom in all the way and scroll for kind of like a zero crossing point that we can make the beginning start point of this sound. That sounds good there. We're going to go ahead and trim that off. And we're just going to leave it as a big, full-length, long texture sample. If I play it, you can see we've got, you know, maybe 10 seconds at least or so of a large texture sound here. We're going to go ahead and say yes, we want to save this. And we'll go ahead and give it a name at this time. So we'll clear out where it says record, and we'll just name this. Let's call this, let's call this texture space. Where's that Y? YouTube. So we'll go YT, maybe like 01. Cool. Texture YouTube 01. Give that a name. Okay. And now they're going to ask us if we want to assign this to a pad right off the jump or not. We might as well. We'll go ahead and assign it to pad number 8 here. Cool. We can go and get rid of that sampling page here. And now we've got the sample that we just recorded on this pad here. We can mess with the amplitude of this. We can make it a really short sample if we want to. Or we can, you know, make it a really long sample, even play out in its entirety every time I hit the pad, depending on how we adjust the envelope here. What I think I'll do by default is maybe put a filter on this sound so we can get rid of a little bit of the low frequency content. So maybe we'll put a high pass filter on and we'll scroll this down a bit. Maybe we'll put a little bit of the envelope on this sound as well. Just trying to remove a little bit of the extra low frequency content from this sound so that we'll have a room in the mix for our other instruments like kick drum and bass and whatnot. Awesome. And I also think that we'll go ahead and set up the reverb and the delay inside of the Digitakt at this time. If I go to function and reverb, we can make some adjustments here, and I can set the length of the reverb to be a bit longer reverb, maybe like 80, and then we can also adjust the filter of the frequencies of the reverb and remove some of the low frequency content from the reverb and maybe a little bit of the high frequency content from this reverb as well. We can also take a moment and set up the delay inside of the Digitakt by hitting function and delay. We can turn this to a stereo sound, bring the feedback up a little bit and the stereo width of this delay up a bit. And we can also filter the delay, so we're removing a little bit of the low and high frequency content from that delay as well. We're going to go ahead and assign that delay and reverb to this little stab here. Let's start with the delay. Nice. And some reverb. That's sounding pretty good already. think I'm going to use that to sort of get a vibe here. And sort of maybe tap the tempo. But if you remember, I said that we're getting our master tempo today from the Digitone. When I press play on the Digitone, the Digitakt already, will sync up and start playing. And let's see here. If I go to tap tempo on the Digitone, I can just tap, I can rather hold function and then, tap in whatever type of a tempo I'd like to vibe with today. So let's see about this. Just kind of getting my foot tapping along at the bottom here. Kind of just sort of tapping with my foot to keep along there. I think we're going to go with this and start maybe about 102 beats per minute today. I'm going to go ahead and make sure we've got our global swing set the same on both machines. We're going to set that to 53 today, I believe. And now, if I press play on the Digitone, the Digitakt has started, but we don't really hear anything, and it might be nice to have a little bit of a metronome playing, so I can turn the metronome on inside of the Digitone, maybe turn that volume up, and now we've got a little bit of a click track that we can play against, right? So if I exit this menu here, whoops. All right. What let's do is let's go ahead and make the Digitakt pattern a 4-bar pattern today, shall we? If I click function and page, we can change it from a 16 to a 32 to a 48 to a 64-step beat. There's 16 steps in a bar, so this is giving us kind of a 4-measure pattern by turning it from 16 to 64. If I hit function and page again, we'll get out of that menu. And excuse me one moment while I have a sip of coffee here. All right. And we'll go ahead and remember, now the master clock is coming from the Digitone, so when I want to do something on the Digitakt today, I'll be starting over here, on the Digitone. 2, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and record this in. I'm going to get us into a quantized recording mode. 2, 3, and 1, 2. 3, 4, 1, 2, cool. I'm going to go ahead and take the metronome off now by hitting function and metronome, and I can just turn that off. All right, we've got a neat little swirling texture here that we sampled from YouTube. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to go ahead and see if I can change the camera here. Probably can't see quite what I'm doing. But what I'm doing is I've got some visualizers on the screen to my left inside of Ableton. And one of these visualizers is the Mixed In Key plugin. And this is a really amazing plugin. And what it does is it takes your incoming audio signal and it measures the frequencies, and it can detect like chords that are coming in, not just monophonic signals but polyphonic signals as well. And we have a C minor up on the screen, so it's telling me that the chord that I just recorded is a C minor. I typically like to write in the key of F, so if we'd like to maybe make that that chord stab that we just recorded into an F. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can tune it up 5 semitones over here. So on the trigger, actually rather on the source page where it says tuning on, whoops, I'll change the camera here. On the source page of the Digitakt, we can change the tuning of this sample. So if I bring it up 5 semitones, that should tune it from a C minor into the key of F minor. And we're going to double check that that's actually what's going on here. Let's go ahead and clear this out and check that again. Just looking on the screen over here, you can't quite see it because we're being cut off, but yeah, now we're in the key of F minor. Fantastic. So we've gone ahead and we've sampled a chord, and then we've transposed that chord to get it into a different key. It sounds quite a bit different than the texture we originally sampled now. But just a really interesting way to kind of get started creating some sort of a chord or a texture to start working with. I love being able to, if you find a really awesome dub techno track that has a really smooth, cool intro, that can often be a really neat place for some sample fodder and maybe a place to get started making something like we're doing today. let's go ahead and think about what we'd like to add next to this. Probably some sort of a kick drum sample would be a great place to go next. I often like to just use my sounds inside of the Digitakt, but I think we're going to do a little bit different stuff today. Sorry about the bar in front of my face as we chat like this, but this is what it takes to get the camera overhead of the units where I need it. I also have a whole lot of light on my shiny forehead today because we've got an overhead light coming down on these so we can get a better lighting. So sorry about my super shiny forehead and the bar in front of me as we chat today. But basically, I think what we're going to do is I'm not near as familiar with the Digitone as I am with the Digitakt. I gelled with the Digitakt as a sample-based device like almost immediately. I've had the Digitone for quite some time, and I have used it in a few projects, but I certainly haven't like gelled with it the way that I have with the Digitakt. So I think maybe what we'll do today, specifically for that reason, is maybe try to pull some drum sounds and create some sort of rhythmic patterns using the Digitone today rather than the Digitakt, which would be my go-to. So let's think about this for a moment. I'd like to try to get creative with this session if possible, you know. So we're going to see about maybe importing more than one sound that we can use on the same track. Now check this, you guys. We're going to go to the import and export menu, right? And we're just going to scroll down until it says import and export. I'm on the Digitone here, right? We're going to hit enter where it said import and export. And now we've got import sound, export sound, or, whoops, over here on the left, or manage sounds. And that's what we want to do. We want to manage the sounds inside of this project. So we're going to go ahead and go yes. And what this does is it gets me into the banks of sounds that are inside of the Digitone. I'm not super, great at programming FM sounds myself, so I've actually loaded this up with a whole bunch of sounds that I've purchased. So like all of the banks, all 8 banks here have sounds in them. So let's see if we can't maybe pick a bank here. This bank seems like it has some drum sounds right off the jump. And let's see here. Whoops. Cool. We can hear these sounds like a so. And maybe pick some stuff we'd like to do. What I'd like to do is just play what we've got so far and see which of these kick drums maybe sound good against that chord that we've already sampled. Hey Les, hey Robu. All right, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Just a super casual creation session today. We're going to be kind of leaning heavily on the Digitone today because I'm really not as familiar with working out of this box as I am with the Digitakt. So we might get off the rails a bit. Let's find out. But yeah, let's press play. So our chord is kind of started here. Just gonna maybe see if I can't find some sort of a kick drum, a lot of snare drums and hi-hats here. We'll go back to this bank. Cool. But what I really want is more kick drums. We're going to go ahead and, rather than just scroll randomly through the sounds, I'm going to press left in the menu here so that I can filter the results of our search by just kick drums for now, so that we can get some kick drums loaded into the project. I'm going to press play again. I think what I want actually is, let's see here, whoops, if I get out of this menu, yeah, I can detune by an octave there, and that might be a better place for scrolling. So we go back to import, export, and manage sounds, right? And back to filter and filter by kick drums. Cool deal. Cool. And now we're getting a little bit lower sound. Yeah, that's what I want. All right. Now, these are all sounds that are built on FM synthesis, and FM synthesis has quite a bit of a life of its own, and they're not the same as analog sounds per se, as subtractive synthesis, analog sounds, I mean. Wow, that is the lowest bass. I think we're going to go ahead and get that in the mix by selecting it here. We're not loading it yet. We're just scrolling. I'm really unfamiliar with what kind of sounds are in, you know, these banks. I don't have a lot of hours in this particular box. Ooh, but that sounds very nice as well. So let's go ahead and load both of these to our project, right? Let's copy to sound pool. One sound copied, so we didn't get that other one from the other bank because I switched the bank over. Let's see if we can find that again then, because that was pretty cool. So many deep, deep kick drums here. Wow. These are really neat. Let's pick those three and load those, copy to the sound pool as well. So what I'm doing, guys, is I'm loading these sounds not to an individual track inside of the Digitone. The Digitone has 4 different tracks that we can assign synthesizer sounds to or drum sounds to. But what I'm doing is I'm loading these sounds to the sound pool with the intention of being able to hopefully use more than one sound per track. And I'll show you what I mean here. We've gone and loaded those to the sound pool now. So we're going to go ahead and exit that search menu, right? And let's see, on track 1, I'll select track 1 on the Digitone, and I'm going to go into the recording section. It's just a 1-page pattern at this time, and I think we'll just pop in like a really default rhythm here to start with, maybe. Actually, I'll just maybe just have the first one here, and I'll hold down this first step, and I'm going to scroll where it says sound browser over here. And the second that I turn that knob, it brings open our little sound browser window, and there are the 4 sounds that we've just loaded into the project, these 4 different kick drum sounds. So I can assign one of those kick drum sounds to this very first step here. If we press play, we can hear it coming through on the first step there. And what I think I want to do is bring the velocity on that sound up and bring the volume on that sound up. Yeah. Hey, what's happening, Jacob? Thanks for tuning in, man. So we're going to go ahead and copy this step, which is going to copy that step and the sound on it as well. Put that into a few more steps. Yeah, there we go. I'm trying to figure out where I want else to put it. Nope, not there. Yeah, there we go. Bring the volume up on that kick drum a little bit, and I think we'll bring the volume down on the chord sound just a little bit. Try to even these out a little more. I think we're also going to go to the amplitude page now on the chord sample and see if we can't get creative with the attack of that chord and create maybe like almost a sidechain pumping effect if I bring the attack to the right place maybe. Let's find out. Bring the release back. Now this is starting to get a little bit more creative sounding, and this is kind of what I was hoping for today. Something maybe a little bit out of my comfort zone. Because, I mean, let's face it, you guys know I love the dub, and it's really easy for me to just drop a 4 on the floor, throw some dub chords over it, and be like, yeah, this is awesome. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to do a little bit different today. Maybe get like a pattern that's maybe a little more unexpected while still keeping some of that dub elements in there, like this chord that we started with. All right, cool. All right, let's see here. That's a good start, I think. What let's do is let's go ahead and make the pattern on the Digitone here on the right. Let's make it 4 bars to match the Digitakt pattern on the left here. We're going to go function and page and turn it from a 16 beat pattern to a 64 beat pattern. I'll hit function and page again to get out of there. Now I've already got these projects saved, and I'm a chronic oversaver, so we're going to go ahead and save these to where to their respective locations here. If I hit function and the gear on both of these machines, it gives me the option to save all patterns and project settings. And I just hit yes on both machines and we're good to go there. Excuse me for 1 second. I'm gonna grab a sip of coffee here. Okay. Now what we can do is maybe start making a variation on this kick drum pattern so it's not just exactly the same every single bar. So what we'll do is open up the little steps here that have our triggers on those steps. We're going to go to let's see here, the 4th page, I think, and maybe just make a we'll copy this and paste this in, make a little turnaround step at the end here. And 4, 2, 3, 4. Cool, little dun-dun-dun kind of thing at the end. Let's bring the volume on these two down just a little bit. And maybe we can, cool, no wait, that's not what I want. Let's just go ahead and make it so these don't happen every single time that the pattern plays through, but rather every other time, making it more like an 8-bar pattern instead. If I go to the conditions over here and I set the condition of these steps, excuse me, to 2 out of 2, that means they will only play the second time the pattern plays through. So what we can do now is we can 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, and they won't play 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, and 8. And here they come. Okay, so every 8 bars we get that sort of da-da-dun happening at the end there. I also really like to sort of have a downbeat sound in my music. You guys know I love that downbeat sound. It kind of helps me stick to the grid and keep a sense of timing. So let's go ahead and get that in the project right at the beginning, right? Let's load up an impact from the Digitakt onto this pad here. Let's go into the samples section, and rather what I can do instead actually is just go into my sound banks. If I go into the record and I put a step here and I hold this step and go, wait a minute, I don't think I need to do it that way. If we just hold the pad down rather and go function and yeah, perfect. And then turn our knob here where it says sound browser. I'm now into the main sound browser of the Digitakt, and I can select any of the banks to select sounds from that I've got sounds saved into. And I have 7 sound banks that I've made for the Digitakt, and I've got them saved inside of these banks here. So let's see here. I believe we can go to, okay, I've got them doubled up. So I believe I have like some effect sounds. This is the, let's see, this is the lo-fi dub bank that I've made for the Digitakt, and I believe we have like a nice noise impact here. Yeah, fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and say yes. We're going to get that loaded onto this pad here. And what we'll do is just make this impact happen every 8 bars so we can get a sense of like repeating timing, right? We're going to go ahead and put that on the downbeat, but we are going to actually, before we do that, we'll make the velocity 127. And then we're just going to tell this note the same thing we did with our extra, notes on the other side, that this should only happen, once every 2 times that it goes through the pattern instead of every single time. And what this is going to do is it's going to put like a little downbeat every 8 bars. Cool. We're going to go ahead and assign a little more delay to that sound and maybe bring the volume down just a little bit. 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8. We get our extras on the downbeat. Now, cool. So we've got a really, really basic pattern happening here. Let's see here. We got a question in the chat from Tony. Which one would you recommend to someone who's buying his or her first Digibox? That is a great question, Tony. I think it sort of depends on what sort of workflow you're more interested in, because the Digitone is an FM synthesizer, and you can program your own synthesizer and drum sounds and bass sounds and pad sounds in this. And the Digitakt is a sampling device, meaning it doesn't really come with a whole lot of sounds, and you're going to be loading your own sounds into this box. So I would say if you really want to work with samples and be able to put in any type of sounds that you like, the Digitakt is probably the way to go. Or even as a beginner, the Electron Model Samples is their entry-level version of the Digitakt, and even a lower priced point to get into the Electron workflow. But the Digitone is also, really a cool box, and it makes some great sounds, but it's just a different workflow in that you can't put any of your own samples inside of this one. So really, they make a great, that's why they make such a great pair, because you can load your own sounds and samples into this one, and then complement those with the other sounds inside of the Digitone. Let's see here. So we've got just a really, really basic something started today. We've got just one kick drum only on the Digitone. We've got just a chord sample so far and an impact sample on the Digitakt. We are in the key of F minor. And what I think we might do is go ahead and look for a bass sound next. So I do want to make these live streams interactive and stuff. So why doesn't someone in the chat decide if we search for the next sound, which will be a bass sound, should we search for that from the Digitone, or should we search for a bass from the Digitakt? What do you guys think? I'm going to take a sip of coffee and see if anybody has a preference. Because unquestionably, where we source, the next sound will have a definitive impact on where this session goes today. So each of these choices, is definitely an impactful choice in the workflow. Okay, we got Jeremy with tone. All right, let's do it, you guys. Let's see what we can come up with here. Now, again, I just want to say that I'm not super, versed with the Digitone like I am with the Digitakt, which is kind of one of the reasons why we're using this today, so I can get, even a little more familiar with using it. We're going to go ahead and go over to track 2, and what I think we'll do is just play the groove. And if I double tap on the track, it puts me right into their sound browser. Let's just pick a bank arbitrarily. I don't know, maybe bank 3. I've got sounds loaded into all of the Digitone banks. And let's go over to the browser and go filter. And we're gonna, we'll select deep, and we'll select bass. So deep and bass are now selected. And we're just gonna kind of start scrolling through some sounds. Okay, a lot of these may be a little bit lower in volume than we want for the scrolling purposes, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this up a bit. Yeah, there we go. And we'll go back into scrolling. Cool. Oh, wait a minute. I think we'll try a different bank of sounds, because those are a little bit more aggressive than what I think we're looking for right now. Okay, wait, what is this here? I think we'll go ahead and load that one up. Maybe turn it down an octave. Okay, let's put that in. We're going to go ahead and we'll just get us into a quantized recording mode, I guess. Just going to hold record and hit play. Live recording quantized. 3, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to pop this in. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that the gate time is being held down properly on that new sound for what I'm hearing in my head. And we're going to hold, here we go, we're going to hold the first measure down for 15, actually that's the bar 4, so let me just make that one 16. We're going to go to the first bar, and I want to make this hold for 15 steps. We're going to go to the second bar, and I want that to hold for 16 steps. And then 15, yeah, I think actually I'm doing that wrong, so maybe I do want 7.5, or just the first 8. Let's try 8. Put that on the first one. We're going to go hold this for 8 steps. So basically what I'm doing is I'm holding it down a little bit, and then in the next bar, I'm holding it down all the way. So we get a little bit of a back and forth variation on the sound right from the beginning. So 1/2, and then we'll make this 16. Nope, sorry, I'm on the wrong bar again. Bear with me, everyone. 1/2, make that, because I'm hitting the wrong button. There we go, 16, and then 1/2, and then 16. All right. See how we can get this bass sounding here. I just ordered a bouzouki. Hey, congratulations, Grant. All right. That sounds awesome. Looking forward to hearing what you do with that. All right. Let's go to the filter. Yeah, that's what I thought. What I'm hearing in my head is I'm hearing a little bit more high frequency content on this sound than what I would like. So we're going to go ahead and low pass filter that down a bit. See how much we can get away with if I get dramatic with the low pass, right? Better. What I want this sound to be is more of a bass sound, and so that it will leave room in the frequency spectrum for other sounds, you know? Nice. Can you guys still hear this sound in the mix? And I think we might want to bring the kick drum up in volume a little bit now. Yes. Okay, and I'm looking at my main levels in the mixer over here, and it looks like I might be a little low on the... How are we doing there? Still could maybe... All right. Can you guys still hear my voice okay now that we're getting a little bit more level today? All right. This is sounding kind of neat. We'll go ahead and stop both of these and go function and that gear so that we can hit yes and save everything that we've created so far. Okay, cool deal. All right, Jeremy with the bass on the Digitone suggestion. So, we've now got a kick drum, we've got a little bit of a pad sound, we've got an impact sound, and we've got a little bit of a bass sound happening as well. So maybe this would be a good time to get some sort of another melodic element in the mix. And I think what we'll do is just press on with the Digitone and see what else we can come up with. We're going to go to, I think, pad sound 3 rather. Let me just make the volume on that a little bit louder while we scroll for some sounds. And we're just going to play the groove, I think, and then scroll for some more sounds. But maybe, let's see here. If I turn the filter settings, remove the bass and the... there we go. And now what I want is something with more of like a higher frequency content. So maybe like a lead or a pad or a texture or a chord or an arp. Cool. I'm just going to filter by lead, pad, texture, chord, and arp. And then we'll see what banks. Maybe have some matches for those. Oh, I see. It's trying to find all of them at the same time. That's not really what I want. So we're going to go back to this sound here and maybe change the filter to less than. Maybe take off texture and chord and maybe just leave it at lead and arpeggio and see what we can find. All right. So I'm just going to play the groove and see if we can't maybe find a sound that sounds cool with the groove we've got started here. Almost a cool sound. Not quite what I want though. Let's try a different bank maybe. Alright. I have an external MIDI keyboard on the side here. I'm going to see if I can turn that on and maybe help use that to figure out what some of these sounds are good for. Although, this arpeggio is pretty cool. I think we'll just load that up real fast. And then just drop that in as a 4-bar arpeggio. let's see what happens if we make this a 4-bar arpeggio over our existing groove here. Why am I not hearing that? There we go. There we go. Yeah, okay, I see what's happening. What I was going to do is I was going to go into the filter section of that sound and remove some of the low frequency content. But they've already got a filter on that sound, and it's a low pass filter. And so if I, change that to a high pass filter, it's going to, ruin the sound basically. So here's what that sound sounds like, right? And if we, bring the high frequencies up, that's what it sounds like. So I can either not worry about removing the low frequency content and just kind of go with this sound as it is. Let's tuck it back in the mix a bit so that it's more of a supporting sound of our original bass tone. Nope, just a little bit muddy in the mix, I think, is what we're doing. By tucking it back, I don't think it's really helping it. I think that frequency is kind of conflicting with our existing frequencies. So we're going to go ahead and continue scrolling then until we can find a better sound, I think. Cool, we'll go back into the menu. Actually, what we'll need to do is exit this and remove that sort of trigger there from triggering the sound as we're scrolling for a new one. Yeah, cool. Oh, I see. Our filters are gone now. No, they're still there. Okay. I think maybe what we'll do also is go up an octave when I'm scrolling. Yeah, better. Ooh, I like that sound. We could maybe make a neat arp out of that. Okay, so let's see here. I've got a MIDI controller over here on the side that's allowing me to play the cool. Yeah, I don't really have that in the shot, but it's over here. Well, yeah. So I can sort of play the tones that we're putting in, and let's see about this one here. Let's maybe bring our octave up, shall we? More reverb and delay on these, I think. Kind of drowning it in reverb and delay here to see what happens to the sound. Maybe put a little bit of chorus on that as well and see what happens. Got almost a spaghetti western kind of vibe all of a sudden. I'm kind of digging that. I think we'll sort of go with that and see what we can see if we can exploit that maybe. Maybe put a little bit more release time on the sound then. So this one here, Dean. Or is it decay? What I want. There it is. Still trying to figure out like what sort of a note combination might work, Hey, we got Red Monkey Force tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Hey, Gaz. Just out of curiosity, what happens if we go up another octave? kind of like it up there as well. Just not really sure what notes to kind of play in for this pattern. 2, 3, 4, and 3, 2. Here we go. Kind of got almost an ambient western sort of a vibe right there. I'm gonna turn the drive down on that sound. Let's see here. Are you guys vibing that? Is that working or is that stupid? Is that lame? I kind of like that though. I'm gonna bring some of the low frequencies off of that new sound. A reason being so that it will sort of glide over the mix and not sort of have any sort of conflicting frequency masking with the lower frequencies like the bass and the kick. Let's see if that did it. Oh, I kind of like this, you guys. How's the mix? Is that new sound? Hey, what's happening, Nils? Thanks for tuning in. All right. Hey, we got Cody Lane. Thanks for tuning in, Cody. We got LGR Productions in the chat. All right. Hey, Walt. Hey, I really appreciate everyone tuning in and hanging out with me on these live streams. I'm trying to keep them super, super casual. I'm not trying to do like level 10, type of production on most of these, so that it's kind of just a fun hangout. Things can go wrong, things can go sideways, or maybe we can get lucky and have some lucky accidents, which is always fun too. And it's always exciting to kind of like not have a super deep intention on what we're actually going to make, and just sort of wing it. So we started today by sampling a chord sound off of a dub techno track from YouTube, and then we just started randomly adding more sounds and, putting more elements into this groove, not necessarily having a destination as to where we were going to go. I often find that can be exciting. If you do have someplace you want to go, sonically, it's nice to have a direction sometimes as well. All right, so let's go ahead and see what else we can put into this groove today. I think we'll bring that new sound down just a little bit still. Making some adjustments to the actual delay settings inside of the Digitone here. Get in there, all right. Do you hear how we're getting that sort of dotted eighth note just dragging over the whole top of the mix now? That allows us to have the lead sound going kind of slowly, but then that delay sort of fills in some of the empty spaces sonically behind it. All right, I like that. Let's see about, hey, what's happening, Russ? Thanks for tuning in. I really enjoyed your live stream with Jade Star the other day. Thanks for that chat. All right, thanks, Russ. That was cool, definitely. Let's go ahead and save, guys. I'm going to hit function and the gear on both machines, and then yes on both machines. And now we're saved. Also, want to encourage questions, or, if you guys have questions throughout the chat, I'll do my best to answer those, whether they be, Digitakt, Digitone related, Eurorack related, iPad related, music production in general related. This is just a casual hangout session. And what let's do is maybe see if we can't add like a snare sound or a clap sound or something like that to this groove. Let's see if we can find something like that on the Digitakt this time, because we've been working a lot on the Digitone. Let's go ahead and scroll through some of my sounds. We're going to go function. I'm going to put this on the track 2 here. I'm going to go function and scroll the sound browser knob. I think I want to find like a snare drum, maybe? I'm not exactly sure. Whoa! Some of these sounds are huge. Okay, I didn't find the right snare in that bank, so I have a whole bank of snare drums here. If we go to, I believe, like bank 2? Yeah, there we go. Cool. Ooh, that's good, but it's way too loud. Put a little reverb on that. Let's record that in. Still too loud. Also, let's bring some of the high frequency content off that. Just a tiny, tiny little bit of a low pass filter on that clap there. Hey, awesome, Nils. All right. Maybe we bring a little bit more low frequencies off this clap still. Let's kind of tuck it in the back just a tiny bit. And what that's going to do, the reason that I'm kind of shaving off some of the high frequency content of this clap is we don't have any hi-hats into the mix yet. We don't have a ride cymbal or any of those sort of like high frequency pingy percussion sounds, and we're definitely going to need room in the frequency spectrum for those high frequency sounds to exist in. So if I shave off a little bit of the high frequencies from this clap sound by default, it's going to give us a little bit more room in the frequency spectrum for me to fill in now with some hi-hats. And let's do just that. But let's maybe see if we can take it a little bit to a more complicated place than just adding in a hi-hat and going digga 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 with it. What let's do is let's like lock a few different sounds to the same track using some sample locking techniques inside of the Digitakt. So we're going to change the camera here so we can see the Digitakt. And what we're going to do, I think, is play the groove and then just go into the sounds managing section and load a few sounds into the sound pool of the Digitakt. Now stick with me here, guys. We're going to press play. And I'm going to, let's see, we're going to go into the import-export menu. And then we're going to go down to Manage Sounds on the Digitakt. I want to scroll through some hats here. Basically, any hat that sounds good, these first four all sound good. So I think we'll just make it, easy today, and we're just going to grab those first four hat sounds rather than, scrolling through a bunch of sounds or whatever. And we're going to go ahead and copy those to our sound pool, the same way that we loaded some sounds in the sound pool on the Digitakt. Now, the sound pool allows you to load more sounds on the same track. And here's how we're going to see if we can do that, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and assign one of our sounds to this by default. I think we'll choose maybe, yeah, cool. And what we'll do is if we see here on bar 1, if I make like a 16 beat pattern and press play, it's gonna tap that on all of these steps. Cool, right on, we're getting there. We're gonna bring the level down on that track a little bit. And what I want to do now is I want to do a creative, like a hi-hat pattern. So we've got 4 different hi-hat sounds loaded. What let's do is let's, on the second beat, if I hold that step, and I'm going to change hands here so you can see a little better. If I hold this step and I scroll now the sound browser knob, it's going to allow me to pick any of the sounds from the sound pool and put those on this step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, let's say, the Bartow hat here, and then I'm going to do the same thing here and put a different hat there, and then the same thing here and put a different hat here. So now on these first 4 steps, we have 4 different hi-hat sounds playing. I'm going to do that same thing again over here. I'm going to hold this, I'm in record mode, where I can see the triggers, and I just hold the step I want to change the sound on. And as long as I have sounds loaded into the sound pool, I can then roll the sound browser over here and click whichever sound I want to put there. Roll the sound browser, and I can do that, for the whole bar here. We can roll this, choose the sound. We can roll this and choose the sound, and we can roll this and choose that sound. We can roll this, choose the sound, roll this, and choose the sound. And last but not least, we can roll that and choose the sound. Now, if I press play, it's going to play back. Let's see if I can mute this real quick. Oh, because my volume's coming through the Digitone. That's funny, Dean. Okay. Just mute these tracks then. All right, cool. I don't know if you can hear that, but now each of these, hats is a different, sound. So we're really getting a kind of a mixed up sort of sonic hi-hat action happening here. Awesome. We're going to need to bring that track way back in the mix. And what I want to do is I want to put this page of hi-hats, which again is like hi-hat 1, 2, 3, 4, hi-hat 1, 2, 3, 4, hi-hat 1, 2, 3, 4. You see what I'm saying? So we're kind of going through a cycle of hi-hat different sounds here, of changing the sound. Let's go ahead and hit page and copy this whole page of triggers. Go to the next page, which is bar 2, where there aren't any triggers, and go page, paste. Go to the next page, page, paste, and the next page, page, paste. Now, okay, we've got that hi-hat pattern happening on all 4 bars. Right, I've muted everything from the Digitone so we can kind of hear that a little bit better. If I mute our pad sound and I mute our clap, and you listen really close now, you hear how we're getting a repeating pattern with these hats, but it's different sounds. I really encourage you guys to play with the different sound locking and getting different sounds on the different steps of your beats. This is really cool. I'm liking the way that's sounding. All right. Still want to bring that down in the mix a little bit volume-wise. Now, over here you can barely see it through all the camera nonsense and whatever, but over here on the bottom left, I've got a visualizer, guys, inside of Ableton, and that's helping me kind of keep an eye on the frequency content so that we're not pushing too much high frequency content or too much low frequency content, and helping me kind of decide, like, oh, I need to bring those hi-hats back in the mix a little bit or whatnot. Okay, I just noticed a great question in the chat, so I'd like to pause here and address that. It's from Cody, and the question is, why do you adjust sample volume instead of level? Sometimes I don't understand the difference between volume settings, and I can actually answer that really easily. What I like to do, Cody, is I like to have the source material, whether that be, like, if we're, no matter what we're working with, I want the source material to be as absolutely loud as possible. And I want the mixer channels to be as absolutely low as possible. And here's why. Let's imagine that we don't have any sounds assigned yet, right? But see if I can, well, maybe I can. Okay, but if I take, I'm going to grab this camera and move it a bit here. Over here, like on my main mixer, right? See, I've got all these channels on the bottom. Those are like the track volumes in something like the Digitakt. And if I bring all of the track volumes all the way up, by default, that's going to raise the noise floor. And we're going to maybe start hearing a little bit of that noise in the background, right? Do you guys know what I'm talking about when you turn your stuff up to a certain level and you might start hearing that like kind of noise coming through and bleeding through your mixes and your recordings? What you want to do is you're going to want to keep the source material, which is the volume of the samples in this case, or if we were using synthesizers, then it would be the volume of those synthesizers. You want to leave the volume of your source material as loud as you can absolutely get it without distorting or clipping. You don't want it going, clipping or going past the 0 decibel, but you want those source, material as loud as you can, and then you want to bring the channels on your mixers, the volume channels, down as low as you can. And what that does is it creates the lowest noise floor that you can get away with. You don't want those volumes on the mixers, which is, the levels inside of these tracks. You don't want those all at 100 and your samples at like 20. You want your samples at like 100 and your mixer levels at like 20. I hope that makes sense. And that's a great question, and please continue to ask questions like that, you guys, absolutely. All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Jacob. I appreciate you being here. All right. So let's see here. What have we got exactly? So now we've got like hash. We've got this clap. I think we'll bring the clap down a touch. Yeah, maybe tuck that. All right. Cool deal, Cody. I think maybe what we'll do at this time is maybe create a variation of this, create a second pattern, because I think that this as its own pattern sounds pretty good the way it is. So we're going to go pattern 1, copy. We're going to paste that into pattern 2. Do the same thing with the Digitakt. We're going to go pattern 1, copy. We're going to go pattern 2, paste. Okay, and now if I go to pattern 2, right, we've got our same pattern there. And I think what we'll do is we'll take pattern 1 here and we'll remove that lead sound from it. So pattern 1 could be more like an intro sound or something. And so let's see here. We'll just, that's the kick. There's our lead and, no. Yeah, it is here. Okay, cool. So function and clear. Right on. So now on pattern 1, there's no lead. We're going to go function and gear on both machines and save our work. Okay. So pattern 1, 1, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Easy deal. All right, let's go ahead and take the clap away from pattern 1 as well. So again, it's more like an intro pattern. All right. I think I want to, on that impact sound, I want to lighten the attack of it just a little bit and bring it down in the mix the tiniest bit, and also pan it a tiny bit to the right so that it sort of has its own space in the stereo field rather than just being dead down the middle. Let's see. Yeah, like a cyberpunk spaghetti western. Exactly. I'm getting that vibe totally. Thanks for tuning in, Sky Tortoise Ferryman. Hey, we got Eagle Steinar in the chat. Thanks for tuning in, man. Cool. We got Peaceful the Pigeon in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. All right, guys. All right, and now what we'll do is we'll just scroll to the next pattern. 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, and we'll scroll to the next pattern. 2, 3, here we go. So now it brings in that lead and that clap. All right, I think that's going to be neat. What let's do though is just go back to pattern 1 and let's simplify our hi-hat pattern on this pattern as well, so that when we go back and forth between our two patterns, it's much more of an actual back and forth, right? Let's make pattern 1 just have 8th note hi-hats. And then when we switch to the next pattern, it'll switch into 16th note hi-hats. So we'll start off with and then when we switch patterns, we go into the and we really start picking up the tempo and taking our listener to a different place. Starting with pattern 1 here. Yeah. And 4, 2, 3, turn around to 5, 2, 3, 4. 7 and 8, and then we change that pattern. go back and forth. Cool. What let's do now is let's go ahead and copy pattern 1 into another slot, into pattern 3, and we'll make some variations on that so we can kind of continue the progression of these patterns. We're going to go pattern 1, copy. We're going to go pattern 3, paste. Cool. We're going to go pattern 1, copy. We're going to go pattern 3, paste. So now we've got our pattern 1 into pattern 3 on both of these boxes. Awesome, and we can start making some more variations and whatnot, but let's save the work we've done. Function gear and function gear on both machines. Yes and yes on both machines. And I'm going to check in with the chat real fast. Ooh, a gated sound effect would be awesome. We don't really have a gate setting inside of the Digitakt or the Digitone, but we could maybe create a gated effect using the LFO inside of the Digitakt, and that might be neat if we assign the LFO to like volume or something. That's a great idea. Let's see if we can do that. Flip mode. I like that. We'll pick a pad that I haven't used yet, and let's go to function, and we'll scroll to the sound browser. And I have the banks of my sounds here. I have a bank called cycles. I think I have a bank called melodic. So I'm not sure if that's for the model samples of the Digitakt all of a sudden, but cycles definitely is, and it's a bank full of 128 melodic sounds. So what we can do is, if you find like actually, that might, let's grab that real quick. Okay, bring the. Let's see about that. If we actually bring the amplitude on that down. Whoops. Bring some of these effects down. Cool. And bring the octave up. It won't go up another. Let's see if I can. It should. Whoops. I don't know why it won't. Should. Because the tune. Is that in tune? Okay, well. Not sure what I'm doing wrong here exactly. There we go. I don't know why it didn't work the first time. Cool. So what let's do is see if we can't get this to act like a gated sound, shall we? And okay, that's an F. Awesome. And if we go into the LFO page, let's see here. No, that's the wrong one. There we go. Probably not going to mess with it too much, is it? Let's find out. No, it's not. Okay, so if we set this to amplitude volume, and we set the shape to a square wave, and we say, oh, I got the BPM to 1K, so let's bring that down. Getting there. Hey, getting there. It's maybe not the best gated sound in the world, but oh, cool. That's like not the right tempo. Let's see, bring this. up another octave, and now we can maybe put some effects back on it now that we've got it gated in the mix. Kind of let it sort of echo over those other sounds. Exactly, it inverts the envelope shape, Cody. So what you're doing is on the LFO page, we're either taking the depth from like, it's basically, you'll hear it if you play with it a bit more, but if we turn the depth to the right, then we're going to be turning the volume to the right as well. And if we turn the knob to the left, then we'll, be turning the volume to the left. Probably not a great way to explain it, sorry. I think it sounds better in a lower octave. Kind of like it there, I think. Maybe we'll just record that in. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, and. I'm not sure if we want it to double up or just every 4. Here we go. Let's go to the filter page on that. I'm gonna make it hold for exactly 8 steps. Maybe bring this down in the mix a little bit still. And let's see if we can do some bit reduction on this new sound. Maybe rough it up just a little bit. Sometimes that sounds really magic, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, I think that's pretty much working for us. I think we'll also soften up the attack on our impact sound a little more. Just a little bit more. Cool, and maybe give that impact sound, like tune it up 1 semitone in the mix as well. For that tiny little bit higher pitch. Yeah, there we go. All right, 2, 3, and 4. Gonna bring the level on that impact crash down just a little bit in the mix. And, all right. Listening for the impact sound. 2, 3, 4. Get the impact sound. Yeah, getting there. Just want to bring that down, I think, a tiny bit more. Maybe bring a little bit more of the low frequencies off of that impact sound. 5 and 6, 2, 3, 4, 7. And here it comes back around that impact sound. That's nice. I think we'll just compensate a tiny bit with the level on our new sound. Yeah. Right, I like that idea we've got in the chat here. We've got a neat idea from Eagle Steiner here. I'm not saying your name right, I don't think. Sorry about that. But the request is try to put the higher note on second time out of 4, and maybe coming in coming in after the second time. Let's see what we can do there. That's a neat idea. And what we've got here, okay, is on the very first trigger. Let's make this play. Yeah, 1 out of every 4. Okay, cool. But then on 2 of every 4, we could put in another dot here and another trigger, another dot. It's not a dot, rather, but it's a trigger. And we could trigger this at F4 instead of F3 to get an octave higher, I believe. And hopefully that will work for us there. And we want this new one to come in 2 out of 4, so it doesn't play every time through, but rather just the second. And let me see what that, I might have done that wrong, but let's see what happens when we play this through a bit. Listen for it. Oh, I like that. In fact, what we're going to do is put that in twice. I really like that. We're going to, let's see here. We're going to grab this, and we're going to make the length, I think, 4 beats. And, man, I really like this suggestion, so thank you very much, Eagle. I don't think I'm saying your name right, and I apologize, but that's a great suggestion. And then I think I want it here as well. And we're going to test that out and find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. And 4, 2, 3. Here we go. Now 5. Wait for it. Here it comes. Yeah, those are a little bit louder than I want them to be, but it's getting there. Really close now. I'm just going to bring the velocity on these 2 down just a little tiny bit. When we go up the octave on that note, it kind of raises the volume a little bit. So I'll change the velocity to try to compensate for that. And that's another great question in the chat, is do the filter frequencies, like the numbers in the Digitakt here, actually represent like actual frequencies? I don't believe that they do. I don't think so. No, unfortunately. It would be awesome if they did, because I would love to have that kind of precise control, you know what I mean? Like 200, filter up to 200, or, you know, filter down to exactly 1100 or something like that. But yeah, I don't believe it works that way. And actually, I think let's do one more creative thing, which may or may not be cool or work. And let's put a retrigger on this second one, and you'll hear what this means. Let's make that H, so the velocity, and maybe make this. So this is going to make it do a bit of a roll for us, which is probably going to be maybe a little bit too extreme for the track we're working on, but you never know until you try. So let's give this a go and see if this is cool or not. It's going to be kind of a little bit of a roll on the second time it plays that that hit through, and let's find out. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3. Yeah, that doesn't really do much for it, so we'll take that off, no worries. And we are going to bring the not the velocity, but the volume on these down, I think, this time. Yeah. Ooh, that sounds nice. Well, yeah, for sure. An idea here which may or may not work. Let's see if we can get this to work. I think on this one to maybe be like 2 out of 4 as well, or 2 out of 2 maybe. There we go. Let's try that. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Russ. I appreciate it. Still want those to be a little lower in volume, I think, so... Go ahead and save where we're at as well. So we'll go function and gear on both machines, and then yes on both machines. That way we get ourselves saved where we're at here currently. And let's see. Can you guys still hear my voice okay, as the music has gotten quite a bit louder? Please just let me know if it's distorting on your end or anything, or if you need my voice to be louder or the music to be louder. I think somebody mentioned an arpeggio earlier, and the easy answer would be to maybe try to find an arpeggio inside of the Digitone. The Digitakt doesn't actually have an arpeggiator, and like I said in the beginning of the stream, I'm really not that familiar with using the Digitone, not like I am with the Digitakt. So I don't actually have the experience setting up the arpeggio in the Digitone yet at this time. But what we can do is we can just get into the menu here, and we can maybe do a filter, and we can filter the sounds by just arpeggio sounds, and see if we can find like an arpeggio sound that maybe sounds cool with what we've got going already. And we might need to bring the volume on these down quite a bit so we can scroll easier. Got a MIDI controller over here, but let me just change the channel on that real quick. Ooh, that was kind of neat. That's almost like a dissonant, but in a neat way. Let's record that, and I kind of liking that. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 2, 3, and bring the volume on track 4 down, actually a little bit more. I'm going to bring the volume on that sound itself up even more, and then bring the mixer level down like we talked about a little bit ago. I think I'm gonna get, let's see, some more chorus on that sound, a little more reverb, a little more delay, so that it kind of matches the same acoustic properties of our ARP from the other side. And maybe we could turn the drive up on, no, it's already up pretty high there. What let's do is on our sort of gated sound here, let's pan this a little bit to the left, and then on our new ARP sound here, we'll pan that a little bit to the right. So those have a little bit more space in the stereo field. Oh, all right, flip mode, you liking that one? I think that sounds pretty cool, right? But what, if you guys remember, we have more patterns we can go to. So, 2, 3, here we go. We can bring that big spaghetti western lead back in. And now we'll go back to the other pattern. Oh yeah, forget about it. That's sounding nice, you guys. Maybe what we could do now would be to take pattern 3 here. It's kind of sounding pretty full. Maybe we could copy this into a new pattern. So copy 3, and then we'll paste this into pattern 4 on both machines. Copy 3 and paste into 4 on both machines. Let's make sure that we're on pattern 4. Cool, and let's go ahead and go function gear on both machines and save on both machines. All right. Cool deal. And let's see what we can do here. This is pattern 4. Let's go ahead and remove that downbeat from the beginning of this one so it doesn't just keep banging away at us every single time. And what let's also do here is get rid of the gated sounds on this pattern. But let's leave the arpeggio sounds in on the other side and see what we're dealing with. Yeah, I'm going to put in a few more arpeggio parts on a lower octave here to fill in some empty spaces now. How does that sound? Giving us more of sort of a melodic and a texture vibe here on this side here on the Digitone. Yeah, all right. Maybe what we can do here is bring our hi-hats up now. And maybe we could create some sort of an interesting, I don't know, turnaround on these hats or something. Let's go ahead and see if we can't do that. Let's put a little tiny bit of a roll here. See if we can get away with that. Oh, forget about it. Absolutely. Let's put that on measure 4 as well. Yeah, nice. And in fact, let's put that in some other places as well. Cool. Now we've got the hi-hat kind of doing a different bit of a, you know, rhythmic stuff here on the left. Okay, cool. We've got some empty pad here, and I think I'd like to add a ride symbol to this part of the groove so that we can keep, you know, alternating what we're doing with the rhythm in the higher frequency content. So I'm going to go ahead and play the groove, and we'll just scroll through, I think, like my dub techno, it's like a, I can't remember the exact name all of a sudden, but we're going to scroll through my dub pack for the Digitakt and see if we can't pull a ride out of there. All right. I believe I have that one here. Yeah. One of these rides from this pack should fit here. Ooh. That's the one for sure. We don't need to do any more scrolling. Let's put that in. Volume on that up on the right and down on the left, so that again the volume on our actual sound is nice and loud, but the volume on the mixer is brought down, not the other way around. I couldn't agree more. Flip Mode says that the trouble he's found with this sort of music sometimes is creating a break and like a change variation. I totally agree, and that can be definitely something that can be difficult. Let's go ahead and see if we can't create a break on the next pattern, on pattern number 5, and see if we can't pull that off today. Let's go ahead and save what we've done so far by hitting function and gear on both machines, and then yes on both machines. All right. So we've got our ride happening here. I think what we'll do here is bring in a different sound where the clap was that we can maybe use to create some sort of a roll with to help us into a breakdown turnaround. So what we'll do is load a new sound on this pad here. Cool. That's a neat one. Let's grab that because I can do something really creative with this, and you can hear that it's kind of, you know, it has like movement built into it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get creative with that movement, and we'll make it so that the first time it hits, it doesn't have any movement, and the second time it hits, you hear the movement. Yeah, cool. All right. So I'm telling the first time it hits, I'm telling this to hold for a 16th note, and I'm telling it, you know, when it hits the second time to hold for all 4 of those notes. And I think that should do it there and get us a nice little pattern variation. Why is that? Do I have that? Let's see, what is that doing? It's not from the LFO. So why then is it? Whoops. There we go. So I need to do that instead. Okay. 29 by default then. And what we'll do is undo that one, do it again, and then we want the trigger to hold this for a 16th. But what I want really is that amplitude to be down. I want that lower still, so it just hits one time. Maybe one in the middle right there could do it for us. Nope, that's too much. You get a little bit of a flam. So there we go. Yeah. All right, and what we'll do is we'll go ahead and copy the whole page here so that this snare pattern copies over through the rest of the 4 bars here. And now we've got a little bit of a snare pattern happening on pattern 4. Bring the volume on that down and maybe put a little bit of effect on the snare, a little reverb and delay. Just a little. All right. Bring that snare down just a little bit still. All right. I have an idea here. So I think what we'll do is create a little bit of a snare roll to sort of lead us into a break for pattern 5. So if on that snare sound, if I go into the recording section where I can actually see the triggers, right? I can maybe on bar 4, I can maybe put in, let's see, if we grab this one here, it has the length already set to the right setting. I can paste that in these 3 times, and maybe we can do a thing to where it changes pitch. So where this one is like 2 semitones up, and this one is maybe like 4 semitones up, and then, whoops, come on. And then maybe this one here is like 6 semitones up. Fantastic. And what we want, okay, is we don't want these to play every single time that it plays the pattern through, but maybe just the second time through so that, you know, it's an 8-bar pattern with a little bit of a roll at the end. So if I hold down these steps and we go to the trigger page and we tell these to come in every 2 times instead of every 1 time, we can get ourselves a little bit of a roll at the end of this pattern. And we could also, maybe we'll leave it at that for now. Let's go ahead and just test this out. I'm going to play it, and at the end of 8 bars, there should be a little bit of a roll here at the end coming from the Digitakt. I see. Interesting. So there's this roll happening here. I think what we'll do is instead of having the roll on the last turnaround, we'll have it not be the roll, and then it won't conflict with the roll that we've created, hopefully. Let's just hear that one more time, and at the end of 8 bars, we're listening for this turnaround roll. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, and 4. Gonna turn it around. 5, 6, 7, 8. Here comes that roll. Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and make the roll just a tiny bit more dramatic, shall we? Let's grab and copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste so that we've got a little bit more. Then one more, copy and paste, and then tell this one to come in every 2 of 2. Fantastic. And get a save on both sides. Save and save. Okay. Now what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to put in like a little bit of a break happening on pattern 5, I think. So we're going to copy pattern 4. We're going to paste that into pattern 5. Okay, and copy pattern 4 and paste that into pattern 5. Absolutely. And then we'll go into pattern 5. Good deal. And what we're going to need to do here is we're going to create some sort of like a drop, like where there's less drums happening, right? So let's see here. If I, wait, our kick is over here rather. So cool deal. I'm going to get rid of the kick on the entire pattern except for the very first downbeat. We're going to leave that in right off the bat here. And we'll start taking out some other parts as well here. I would like to take out this ride, I think. We might actually wanted to leave that in for the break. That might have been cool, but we'll take it out for now. All right, and let's see how we're doing here. I want to put some more arpeggio, like longer arpeggio holding stuff on the Digitone here. Let's see if we can figure out. Definitely want to get rid of these snares. Yeah. All right, we are getting there now. Yeah, we're going to leave our hi-hat. Awesome. In fact, let's make the hi-hat a little bit more creative right off the jump. The things in between the 8th notes are little rolls and stuff. So let's paste some more of those in just for fun, just in every single bar. So we get like more, there's more like rolls and whatnot. And paste some more of these in, and paste and paste. And then let's go and tell some of these to not hit every single time, but rather, oh, I don't know, like 50% of the time. Anything that's not on an 8th note, we could maybe do the same thing with, maybe put a little bit of randomness on that one, and then here too. And then this time, this way, every time it plays through the pattern, it's going to be a little tiny bit different. And, you know, not be quite so static and the same all the time, which is always nice. Okay, we're going to keep, you know, the main elements will be the same, but just this hi-hat will kind of be a little bit more alive sounding. Yeah. We're getting there. I'm just making some more of these hi-hat rolls, not trigger every single time. Yeah. So we get much more of a random vibe now with the hats specifically. All right. Let's go ahead and put that in. That sounds cool. And let's just figure out which one of these parts is like our main sort of arpeggio part. I I think we're already holding this one down in its entirety, so this might be a good option to make a variation on that actually, so that it doesn't. Yeah, definitely. Let's just do that. So instead of holding down for 16, let's tell this one to hold down for 4 only. Let's copy that over. Let's do the same thing here and just whoops, I hit paste and clear instead of there we go, paste, and there we go. Yeah. Let's see what that sounds like. Excellent. Okay, so that's sort of our spaghetti western lead sound, and this sort of our main arp sound. So we can really change it if we hold down a chord, but what if we hold down, let's see here, using my MIDI controller off screen just a little bit, and if I hold down an octave, yeah, that's nice. So what let's do is let's get rid of our triggers here that are triggering the arpeggio in the break, and let's just do one to where it's holding down octave F sound, because we're in the key of F, and that sounds pretty cool. Let's go ahead and just hit play and record that in. Yeah, and 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4. Here we go now. 2, 3, and let's see if I got those right. It doesn't seem like it. Let's see if I can't fix this length, and does that help us get where we want to go? Sure. Go ahead and, yeah, we can also tame this sound a little bit as well by messing with the filter release. That's nice. One of the things that I like to do to emphasize these sort of like breaks in the sound as well is I like to put like a bass drop sometimes, like a really low frequency type of bass drop. I wonder if I can find something like that for us quickly and easily here, possibly. We're not using that sound on this pattern. Actually, we're not using the kick sound at all over here on the Digitakt. So this pad, even though it has a sound on it, we're not using that sound. So let's go ahead and see if we can't load like a nice bass drop to this sound for this break here. And what I'm going to do is, let's see, we're just going to hold function and turn the knob. And I think I have this in this same Dub Techno bank under effects. If I just keep scrolling. And let's find out. No, I'm in the wrong bank. What I want to be is here. Yes. Cool. All right. Or actually, wait a minute now. I think I have this. Sometimes it's hard to remember with so many different samples, but I think I have a folder of, yeah, Dean's Effect Stash. Cool. It's probably going to be in here. Yep, there we go. C bass drop. And F bass drop. That's what I want. Absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and load that up. Load one sample. Now I can put the bass drop on this pad here. In the source page, I can choose whatever sample is loaded that I want to assign to that pad in this pattern. And now we have that bass drop, which is really loud and really deep, right? And we're going to bring the volume on that way down. And yeah, we're also going to put a high pass filter on, and we're going to remove just the absolute lowest sub-E frequencies there, so it doesn't explode anyone's phone. There we go. And bring the volume down as well. And what we're going to do is go ahead and just put this in on the downbeat of measure 1 here. And bring the velocity up on that. And we're going to tell this to only hit 1 out of 2 times. So that it only hits, actually the first time only. So I can play this pattern as long as I want. And this bass drop will only hit the first time the pattern plays. Let's see if that sounds okay. Yeah, to make it lower in the mix as well. It's supposed to be a really subtle effect. And nice. We'll go ahead and save what we've done so far. Save and save. Now what I think we'll do is I'll check in with the chat real fast and make sure that I'm not missing anything, any questions or anything, and then we'll check out what we've got here. We'll play the patterns back to back and see how we're sounding and see if we want to add anything to the previous patterns at this time. Take a sine bass from the 309. Oh yeah, now you're talking. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what these patterns sound like if we play them back to back in order, shall we? We'll start with pattern 1, and here we go. I've already got an idea, guys. It'd be nice if on this first pattern here, before if we actually went into like, you know, the full beat, which is coming in pattern 2, if we had a tiny little bit of a rest. So let's see here. I believe, yeah, we've got our kick drum here on the Digitone. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to sort of have a 1-bar rest before the beat comes in. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell these last few kick drums over here that are playing on bar 4 to only play the first time it plays through the pattern, and on the second time it plays through the pattern for these kick drums to rest. So if I go into the trigger page, I can set the conditions on these to 1 out of 2, and they'll only play 1 out of every 2 times that it plays the pattern through. And on the second time it plays the pattern through every time, these kick drums here will not trigger. Therefore, there'll be sort of a rest now at the end of bar 2. And these I actually want just 1 out of 2 as well. Okay, whoops. 1 out of 2. And now what we're going to do is we're going to play the 8 bars again, but at the end of those 8 bars, we're going to have a rest in the kick drum, and sort of that will, when you have a rest, like right before a new pattern comes in, when some of your sounds take a break and give the listener's ear that tiny moment to sort of clear out, and then we hit them with a new pattern, it really helps them understand the flow of the music. You know, you really want your listeners to understand the flow. In fact, let's go ahead and get rid of that impact sound on our very first pattern as well, because it's kind of jarring. I don't think we need it to be there right as we start the... oh, wait a minute. That was actually on pattern 2 that I was on there. So let me put that back in. Tell this to happen only 1 out of 2 times. And we'll go back to pattern 1. Yeah, and we'll take it off of pattern 1 instead. So here we go with pattern 1. Yeah. 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. There's going to be a little bit of a pause now on our bar 8. In fact, before we get any further, let's go ahead and put that same pause on our hi-hats as well, because I know I'm going to want that. So on bar 4, here's our hi-hats, and really what I want is the second time it plays through on bar 8, just to hit this first hi-hat and then to rest, okay? So we're going to tell all of these hats real fast to only play the first out of 2 times, and the reason that I'm not copying and pasting these guys is, remember, we assigned different sounds to each of these steps, and we did kind of like a 4-sound pattern, and I want to keep the sounds as they are and not, you know, mess that up. So I'm just individually telling these triggers to only play 1 out of 2 times. Okay. Awesome. And now there's going to be a pause on the kick drum out of the Digitone, and also a pause on the hi-hats, which are coming out of the Digitakt, right before we skip into our next pattern. Awesome. Do you guys hear how we had a rest there from the kick drum and the hat? Exactly, cool. And now I've got this clap. Oh, this is fantastic. What we're going to do is on bar 4, we're going to go ahead and put a clap to come in right before the beat. We're going to put that in right here, and I'm going to tell the velocity on that to be all the way, and we're going to tell this clap to only happen on the second time through. So we're going to go pause, 2, 3, clap, downbeat into the next bar. And that's sort of just a little something to help us kind of set off that transition again and let the listener know, here we go, we're changing into something else now. We're going to go ahead and save both patterns, and this time I'm going to play the pattern 1 all the way through, and then we're going to go right into pattern 2 so we can hear that transition finally. The pause. Oh, it's really good, except for that I'd like that clap to not be quite so loud as the transition sound there. It was really loud. Let's go ahead and back to make sure we're in pattern 1. Okay, cool. And there's that clap. We just want to bring the volume on that sound down just a little bit. Maybe we'll filter it down a little more as well. And we're going to hear that in context one more time, starting with pattern 1. And I'm just going to start scrolling through the patterns again. Nice. Bring that one down a little in the mix. Yeah, better. Down in the mix. Yeah. And here we go with the break, guys. Okay, so we're getting there. What I think we want for that sound here in the break is for it to be more filtered down. Yes. And same with this sound as well, I think, yes. Oh, yeah. We're kind of tucking the mix back, so when we go into the next pattern, it can kind of open up a little more, right? We still have our ride in the mix. Let's put that in this pattern as well. 3, 4. Okay, so just trying to figure out what I want to do here. 4, 2. I'm going to put this ride in. Just to give us a little bit of extra rhythm and momentum in this break here. Here we go. So now we have 5 patterns, and we can kind of just start scrolling back and forth between these patterns. Go into the break again after this one. Actually, that's what the deal is. So we still got our chord sound going in the mix here. Is that what is that? No? Yeah, where? It's that one. Yeah, I think maybe what I want is for that not to come in every bar in the break, per se. And that way we can have a little bit more sparseness here. Oh, God, yes, that's what I want. Yes, oh, better. Awesome. And what I'd like to do also is tell this chord to only hit the first time, not to hit every time that we go through the pattern. So let's do that, and then we get a lot more, empty room in the pattern. So when we move into the next phase, it helps the listener's ear get ready for that, per se. Whoops. Yeah, better. Because sort of the bottom drops out more in this break now. And we could sort of create like, let's see here. What let's do is grab our pattern 1, and let's copy this into pattern 6 on both sides. Pattern 1, copy, pattern 6. Actually, I think we want pattern 2 rather instead, because that's more like our lead pattern. Yeah, so pattern 2, copy, pattern 6, paste. And that's what has our, like spaghetti western lead sound in it, per se. Yeah, cool. But what we can do is maybe we can get rid of that spaghetti western lead sound. But rather it's right. Is it not? Having a little bit of an issue trying to figure out where my kick drum is all of a sudden. But it's not that kick drum, right? Yeah, it's here. So why is it not here? Well, let's try again. Copy. Oh, because it's 2. Copy pattern 2 into pattern 6. Come on. Bear with me, folks. We'll figure this out. Yeah, cool. All right. So let's see here. It's on bar 3. There it is. Cool. We can get rid of that spaghetti western lead there and keep our drums. Maybe we'll go with less reverb on the clap this time, though. Bring it a little tighter. Yeah. Even a little more tighter still. Better. And also, let's see about maybe if we get rid of our chord stab here. That's kind of the main texture of our track. We can maybe put something else in there to sort of create more of a new section here. Yeah. So basically what we're looking for is like another chord sound that we can use to replace this one here with some sort of like a texture or something. And let me see if I can just go into some samples quickly if I've got I haven't recorded a lot into this particular. I have 2 Digitakts actually, and my main one is being used in another set at this time. So this is my second Digitakt, which doesn't have all of the same samples as my first one, unfortunately. And I'm not really seeing what I was hoping to find here, which is okay. Maybe we can find something in the lo-fi chill chords sound. So I just need to hit like another chord here. Work with that. And just go ahead and put that on this pad here. In fact, we'll clear the pad by going, let's see, track 8 clear. And then we can put that new sound here. Cool, we can make this really tight and do something fun with it, I think. High pass filter on this sound. Put some delay and reverb on it. Too much reverb. Getting there. There we go. 2, 3, and just put that on the first 3 and then do a rest. Here we go. This has sort of left us some room in the mix here to sort of put another melodic element in, and I think we'll do that. Just kind of tuning the impact a tiny little bit real fast. Cool. All right, that's sounding pretty good. Let's see here. Let's see, that's track 3, so I need to be on MIDI channel 3. Playing a MIDI controller to the side off the screen here. That's why you can't see me tapping on the Digitone. Play something in, just kind of random here. I'm just gonna get us into a quantized mode and just sort of see what happens. 4, 2, 3, 4. Bring the volume on that track down a little bit. And let's see here. Maybe instead of having the clap on the Digitakt here, maybe we go back to the snare instead. See if we can't find that snare sound. Where's that at? There it is. Let's make it, yeah, let's just make it shorter. too much low frequency still coming through on our new sound here. Pull a little more of those low frequencies off of this sound here. Maybe still even more. And maybe we could pan that new sound a little bit to the left so that it has a little bit of, room in the stereo field. Maybe we could do that same thing with our lead sound. Just pan it a little bit to the right, just a little, like 5 to the right, just so that it's not, conflicting dead on that center axis, Pick those hi-hats up in this pattern. Bring this octave up and see what happens. Record a little turnaround part in. Cool. Let's scroll around through some of these different patterns now, shall we? Here we go. So I'm gonna bring the volume down on that main chords tab. Yeah, better. Doing a little bit of mixing on the sounds as we play through these patterns. Do a little bit of that fun track all trickery here, whereas if we save the pattern with function and save pattern, now if I hit the track button and reverse all of the samples, function reload. Function and save pattern on the Digitone. Alright, well I think we've created a pretty neat little pattern from scratch today. We started with sampling just a little chord type of like texture sound from YouTube, from a dub techno track. then we sort of built this groove around it, just, having some fun, searching for some sounds, creating some different pattern variations and whatnot. We've been going for about 2 hours and 10 minutes. I think we're going to, call it pretty soon. And I'd like to give you guys an opportunity to ask any questions in the chat before we do, whether they be related to a setup like this, Eurorack, or iPad music making, or maybe just music production in general. If you guys have any questions at all, now would be a great time to ask as we're getting ready to wrap up the stream. I really appreciate everyone tuning in and hanging out with me while we have fun on these Sunday sessions and whatnot. Hey, thanks, Grant. I appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in, David. All right. Let's just take a listen to what we've got over here one more time. And if anyone has any questions, now would be a great time to drop those in the chat. Let's go back to pattern 1, shall we? What I would do if I was gonna, continue working on this is maybe try to really get in and flesh out the details between the patterns. Make sure that all the transitions are as good and clean as they could be. Yeah, I don't think I want a break to happen quite this early because it seems like we're kind of losing momentum when that happens. So maybe what I'll do is on this pattern here, we'll put the snare sound. We'll go ahead and a little less reverb on it. Save these. Now see, that's a great question. We got Fact Music with what is the most effective sidechain technique? There isn't one, is the thing. There's not, this isn't really set up to work that way. There is a compressor inside of the Digitakt, and you can get that compressor to react to one track only, but I haven't really used the compressor in the Digitakt that way. I use the compressor in the Digitakt mostly as just a master compressor to kind of glue all of the sounds together. And when you're working with both of the boxes together, there isn't a way to pick a sound and have it sidechain sounds from the other box or anything like that. So that's just a workaround that you'll need to, keep in mind if you want that effect. You can get in with the individual steps, and lower the sounds that are on your kicks and try to do stuff like that. Or you can assign, you can get creative with the envelope of your sounds so that they kind of fade in a little bit. That's sort of what we did to this. So I can change the camera here. That's sort of what we did with our first chord here. Is we're sort of doing a fake, kind of side chain almost, in that it's fading in. I'm not using this kick drum here, but if I was to hit it at the same time, do you hear how we're getting an almost pumping effect already? And what we could do to maybe, make that more or less dramatic, see if I got this at 75 by default, is we can adjust the attack time here to make it fade in more or less dramatically even. Here we're getting more of a pumping effect now, but there's no side chain. So, I mean, that sort of a thing can be kind of a workaround. But yeah, if you're really heavily into the side chain sound in your music, this might not be the combo that you want to go with right off the, the jump if you really need that pumping. Because the only way to really get that with this setup, aside from the workarounds, with the LFO or the envelope and whatnot, the only way you can really get that is with the Digitakt itself, having one sound affect the other 7 tracks as a sidechain. But it won't affect anything from any other boxes. And again, we can't get anything in the Digitone to react to that or vice versa. I should have added without using the master compressor. Well, that's what we just did. That envelope attack, you can get some pretty neat workarounds there. It's not super great, like if you're using an arpeggio sound or something, because then you're really not going to be able to get that. But I suppose if you needed to get that on an arpeggio sound, and this was your only gear, you could sample the arpeggio out of the Digitone into the Digitakt, and then you could have this sort of volume envelope whenever you trigger the sound. You'd still kind of have to trigger it every quarter measure or whatnot, and it's still kind of just a workaround. This isn't really the best box combination for getting sidechain, but you definitely can I really wouldn't utilize that loop back in the audio inputs, Daniel, especially with the Digitakt itself, because the audio inputs on the Digitakt are mono. So even though we've got two inputs here, it sums these to mono. You don't get like a stereo signal coming out of the master out, but you only record to mono. It's always mono with the inputs. You can put a left and a right, but what you're hearing from those is always going to be a mono signal. So for instance, if you're resampling a bunch of stuff into it, you're going to be taking your stereo content and you're going to be making that mono. And if you route external audio in here, you're going to be turning that audio into a mono audio signal as well. Now, if you don't mind that, then, that's perfectly good workaround, but I'm really, we're already working with mono samples only inside of the Digitakt. So anytime we can add something else to it and really get full on stereo over the top of these mono samples. Sure, the effects are stereo and we can pan the sounds left and right, of course, but the sounds themselves inside of the box are always going to be mono, as well as the input is always going to be mono as well. Used to parameter lock the other track's velocity on the kick steps. That's a great workaround as well. Fact Music, absolutely. You could get in there and when you want the kicks to hit, take the other sounds down. Conversely to something like this, that's a great workaround and it would absolutely get you there as well, for sure. Oh my gosh, the Digitone keys. Daniel, I'm super jealous. That thing looks amazing and has the individual outputs on the sounds, right? That's like one of the big draws to something like that is there's no individual outputs on the Digitone, but I believe on the Digitone keys you get a separate output for each sound. Am I right? Because boy, that would be awesome. All right, well, I really appreciate everyone tuning in today. We've been going for just over an hour and 15 minutes. Yes, oh my gosh. Well, I hope you're enjoying that because that is really awesome, Daniel. The extra outputs would really take it to a whole nother level. I mean, again, as well as being able to play the keys, I don't really have it, on the shot here, but I've got a controller off to the side, so I can play it with keys as well. So that's definitely a big benefit. All right, so I'm not sure exactly what we're going to be doing next Sunday, guys. Let's see here if I can maybe show you a little bit of what's been going on. If I can just move this camera here. Okay, cool deal. So I'm on a battery with this camera, so I got to kind of hold that as well. But I've been working really hard, you guys, for the last couple weeks setting up a live set. And I've got a patch here in the Euro rack. There's like cables everywhere. It's cable spaghetti fever. You can see it's really patched up here. And this is a techno patch that I've been putting together. And then over here in the back corner where it's all dark and you can't see anything, I've actually squeezed two setups into one kind of setup in the back corner here. So I've got two little jams that I'm going to be doing over here, and then I'm going to switch to the Euro rack over here. So on the live stream that I'm going to be doing for this show, this set is for an online music festival called Clown Fest 5. It's the 5th iteration of the online music festival called Clown Fest, which is put together by a friend of mine named Mark, the Acid Clown Gardner. So what I've been doing with like all of my time these last couple of weeks is just cleaning up and getting everything as condensed as possible and building the Euro rack patch for that set and getting all ready to go. That live stream is going to be this Friday, April 2nd, sometime in the afternoon, like 1 or 2 o'clock. I'm not exactly sure what the time is going to be specifically. I think it's like 1 or 2. But I'll put that up on the channel in advance if you guys want to check out that live set. I don't think there's probably going to be any videos this week before that because I'm going to be spending all my time polishing up on the final details for that. And then we'll be back next Sunday. And what I'll do, what we'll do is probably talk about in detail that set and like how all the, things are being routed and how the sounds are being made and stuff like that. Um, was a game changer on the. Oh, Daniel, you just teasing me now. I can't. Oh, you guys are gonna see me in a couple of weeks with the Digitone keys out here now. Okay. Well, I think we are gonna call it. And again, sorry about the bar on my face today. I really appreciate everyone hanging out. And I guess we'll see you again next Friday. I'm a little nervous already. It's going to be a 20-minute set. It's a 5-day online music festival, Clown Fest. It starts on April 1st, which is the Thursday, and my set is on day 2 of that. All right. So thanks again for tuning in for this live stream, guys, and hopefully we'll see some of you on the live stream on Friday. All right. And there we go. Let's see if I can find which of these buttons is going to end the stream today. All right. Thanks again, everyone. Have a good week.